And it goes a little something like
What's up YouTube, Crafting Cars here, happy Tuesday. So starting off this video, we got some good news. As you can see, we got the Civic back home. So if you saw my last video, the dyno session part 1, you know that my little scavenge pump here was acting up again. Every time it got hot, it stopped working. So after the dyno session, I ended up going back there, swapping this thing out, and then I took the back roads all the way home, drove home beautifully. Not a problem, no smoke, no nothing. So this was definitely the issue, and now the car is running great, so that's really cool. But that's not the focus of today's video. Today's video is all about installing a new part I picked up for the Civic. Waiting out for a while, and I'm glad it finally arrived. Check it out. So this right here is a VIS carbon fiber trunk. It's a CSL style, which means it's got a little duckbill on it. So that's super exciting, super cool. I've been wanting to install this for a while. And looking at these, kind of on edge. Should I purchase one? Should I not? They're pretty pricey at around 1,200 bucks. So it took me a while to kind of pull the trigger on this one. But anyway, today we're going to be installing it on the Civic. So obviously before we install the carbon trunk, we got to remove the old trunk. So first things first, pop it. See what we're working with here. So looks like the trunk is fastened with 2 bolts on either side. Those look like they're just going to be 10mm bolts. And then we got to find a way to remove and transfer the old harness and cable. So this wire harness here looks like it runs into the body of the trunk, and it's in charge of powering up the inner taillights. And then this cable right here looks like it's in charge of opening and closing the trunk release latch. So those definitely got to be swapped over to the new trunk. So I'll set up the camera and we'll start working on that. So it looks like it's going to be easiest if we start off by removing the electrical harness. So these plugs for the taillights come off pretty easily. And then if you go around, you'll notice you got these white clips here. Now these are pretty fresh, so all you gotta do is squeeze them and push up. Squeeze them and push up, like that. If you can't get them with your fingers, you could always use like a needle nose pliers. Otherwise, I've seen some people slip like a small socket over them. That works sometimes, but looks like I can get away with using my fingers today. It looks like there's a little plug for the latch here. There we go. Looks like to get this one off, you just got to push on this little tab on the plug. Pretty similar to these. And then we can't forget about our license plate lights as well. They're going to be tucked right back here. Let's give them a little turn. Should pull it right out. Now we should be able to take this whole harness and pull it out of this little hole here. So just going to do it nice and carefully. Alright, so we pulled out the whole harness. Now let's get to work on this cable. Now you see we got the latch held on by 3 10mm bolts, it looks like. So we'll take those out. That should probably make it a little bit easier to get this cable out of there. And it looks like we want to take this piece off here. Just looks like it's another 10mm bolt. This is the part where I think your key goes in. Yeah, you put your key in to unlock your trunk. Now my new trunk does not have holes for a key, so I guess we won't be using that anymore. So yeah, we'll just take that off, get that extra little rod out of there, and keep taking this thing off. Enough. Looks like this just pulls out, pulls straight out. Just like that. So at first I thought I had to remove these clips here, but it looks like I don't have to. So now we're ready to remove the 10mm bolts on either side and take this trunk right off. I think I'm gonna have my roommate Jonathan help me since he's already sitting out here. So on the new trunk, I gotta take these wood panels off here. Alright, now it's time to bolt this thing up. It's significantly lighter than the factory one, so at least
Why is that?
Well, that's because it's made out of carbon fiber with fiberglass reinforcement. I just got these bolts tightened down by hand right now because we didn't want to hit them with the impact because that would easily strip out the fiberglass. And we're not sure if we got the adjustment quite right yet. Got to check the fitment here. One thing I don't want to forget is these little rubber stoppers. They look like this. Now on the factory hood, they were pretty much bottomed out, so there wasn't too much of this rubber thread showing. So that's pretty much how I'm going to put them on here. I believe they just go, I think they go in this hole right here. Just screw them in. Definitely takes, I noticed it takes more effort to close the trunk now since you don't have the weight of the trunk helping you against that spring. I don't have the latch hooked up either. Yeah, I'll tighten down the screws that we tightened down just by hand, and then we'll go ahead and put the latch on and see what it looks like. Alright, so I think I got the trunk where I want it. I went ahead and tightened down this hardware, basically just a little bit more than hand tight. Now I'm going to go ahead and route the wiring harness and the hood release cable, and then after we get all that done, we can pop in those taillights. If I pull that lever, it's just gonna spring up because it's so fucking light.
Cheesecake.
Now we gotta transfer over the taillights from the old trunk as well as the license plate light lenses and the housings themselves. So that shouldn't be too bad. As you can see, it's kind of hollow up there. I don't know if I'm gonna have to take off this panel here, possibly. But if I do have to take this off, looks like it's just these little 10 mils right here. Not a big deal. So yeah, let's get right to work. And one thing I'm noticing with the taillights is the bolt holes don't seem to be lining up perfectly. So what I did is I put a little paint marker on the ends of these studs here, and I lined up the taillight how I want it. And I used that paint marker to kind of transfer over onto the fiberglass, and that's where I'm gonna have to open up those holes a little bit, and then looks like I might even have to drill a hole down here to get that good taillight fitment. Alright guys, so there you have it. Our VISracing CSL carbon fiber trunk is installed. And I gotta tell you, I'm loving the way it looks. I was a little skeptical at first, as with most of these like big parts like this that change the look of the car significantly. But I think it's going to go really well with the carbon fiber hood we'll be putting on again shortly. And yeah, installation wasn't too bad. Once we modified the little taillight housings, everything else bolted up pretty good. You just got to make sure with this fiberglass that you don't go too crazy when you're tightening stuff down, or yeah, it'll strip and crack and everything. So just got to be gentle with it. As far as weight savings goes, this trunk's got to be at least half the weight of the OEM trunk there. You can really notice it when you go to pop the trunk and the thing just flings open. And when you go to close it, you don't really have the weight of the trunk helping you out, so it takes a little more force to close the trunk. But overall, very happy with the product. Fitment's pretty damn good. So there is a little bit bigger gap here than OEM, but somebody who doesn't own a Honda probably wouldn't even realize that. And then the gaps all the way around are pretty consistent. They're a little bit bigger than OEM, but at least they're consistent all the way around, so it doesn't look tacky. And then one of the biggest things is I wanted to make sure that the taillights were nice and level. So you see we got that pretty dialed in, and so yeah, that looks good. Because the Hondas look really bad when the taillights are like offset. So got that all figured out. License plate mounted up and everything. That's right, this is a collector vehicle now, so very excited about that. And yeah, I'll do a couple more shots of the car, try to get some close-ups, and that'll do it for today's video. If you liked the video, I know it's getting kind of late now, so the lighting's kind of whack, but if you like what you saw today, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out our website, craftingcars.com, where you can buy some merch. Make sure you're not missing out on Gideon's Friday uploads, and I will see you next Tuesday. Bye!